Time for topic of the show. Each week we take a special item from the Nintendo pipeline and break it down bit by bit, or we just take a random news segment that we didn't talk about in the Nintendo pipeline. Just some piece of news. This week is the latest Pokemon trailer for the upcoming release of Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. The trailer showcases many new features, which we will tackle one by one. If you're listening to this snippet and you want the whole show early, head over to patreon.com/Koppai Gaming. Give us $1. You get the episodes early, plus a ton of exclusives and an entry for the Nintendo NX in our giveaway. The first thing that we're going to talk about that was featured in this trailer, first of all, epic trailer, epic teaser, epic game. It's going to be the best Pokemon game ever. Indeed. The newest thing is Z moves. Z moves are a new element that have been introduced into Pokemon battles in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Z moves are powerful moves that can only be used once during battle. So basically the replacement, it seems like, for Mega Evolutions. If Mega Evolutions aren't coming back, we haven't seen any Mega Evolutions so far. What's the deal with those? Are they coming back? The explosive force of a Z move is the result of both the trainer and the Pokemon releasing their full power together when their wishes resonate with each other. All Pokemon are capable of using Z moves in battle. So it's not like this, because people were kind of complaining that Mega Evolutions were slightly broken because it made it so only certain Pokemon were kind of viable for certain kinds of battles. With Z moves, it brings about that same sort of strategy where it's like, okay, I can only use this powerhouse once during battle, but every Pokemon is with it. And so to use a Z move, 2 key items are required, a Z ring and a Z crystal. The Z ring fits on a trainer's arm and Z crystals are set into it. If a Pokemon holds the same variety of a Z crystal as its trainer, the two will be able to resonate with one another. Speaking of the Z crystal, real quick before we talk about Z altogether, number 2 in the trailer was that the Tommy International will be releasing a Z ring for sale at participating retailers. When a Pokemon uses a Z move in Pokemon Sun or Moon, their real-life ring will light up, vibrate, and play sounds to go along with the video sounds in the game. Really cool little toy. I went on Amazon. It was available right away for pre-order. I pre-ordered it, and then I canceled my pre-order because I'm like, wait a second, I don't want this thing. I don't know what I was thinking. It's like this really, really cheap plasticky toy.
How much is it?
I think it's like $30 or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Because it looks so small. Like it looks like it's made for a little kid.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool
Probably
idea.
won't even fit on your wrist.
Yeah. just put it like on my big
You're
toe or something.
out in public playing Pokemon Go with your Z ring on your.
And my Pokemon Go Plus strap on the other hand.
You got your 3DS, out too. Your Pokemon going and playing Pokemon Sun with your Z ring. You're the coolest cat in town, man.
They're also partnering, I think, excuse me, with Insert Coin, which is a clothing company, and they're going to make some Pikachu apparel. And Insert Coin has some legit jackets. They have some Metal Gear ones that are really nice. But yeah, the Z forms, the Z moves, the Z powers, the Z rings sound really cool. Sounds really awesome because like you kind of like in the previous games, it's kind of like, oh, they're sending out a Charizard. Like, they're probably going to use this Charizard as their Mega form.
Yeah.
And it was always like, okay, and then now I have to take down this one Pokemon, and it's like, crap, like, or then, like, you kind of, like, everything rides on that one thing. But this time it's going to be like, I can have really, like, a team of, like, a couple fire Pokemon, and I can have a fire ring on and make it so it's just ready to go. Like, really kind of prepare in that way, where it goes back to the more traditional, like, type matchups that Pokemon's known for. And so, really going to be a cool layer. I would assume it's going to be competitively viable and going to be really fun to have, like, Z battle, like, having the tides turn because of a Z ring implication.
It will be very interesting to see if they completely get rid of the whole Mega. I can't see them altering the metagame so much, so dramatically like that, where this isn't just like a complementary element to it, but at the same time, it's definitely an interesting sort of conundrum that they're in with it, because these almost seem somewhat of a replacement, but at the same time, they seem like they could work alongside. I haven't heard really the theory that this will altogether replace that, because what happens to, like, for example, your whatever ite that you have put onto your Charizard or Pokemon that Mega evolves, and you transfer it to this new game? Is it just going to remove the item? Does it no longer have that?
I assume the item just doesn't do anything, you know.
Yeah, that could be possible. And also, we've seen, I guess, a bit of the bottom screen. I don't know if we've seen it during a battle, but I haven't seen a Mega Evolution thing. I haven't seen anything of them talking about it. So that's very interesting.
Any in battle, like your trainer's not wearing like a Mega Evolution wristband, and the legendaries have their Radiant Sun phase and their Lunar phase, but those aren't like anywhere near like reverse evolutions or Mega evolutions.
Very interesting, because for one, they've done some incredible new designs and Mega Evolutions that are just absolutely incredible looking and fit into the lore, and are just, I can't imagine just completely writing those out unless throughout the actual main story of the game there's no Mega Evolutions, but through transfers and through like playing through the player search system or whatever it will be in this game, then you can use those elements. It'll be interesting to see how it all ends up working. I wanted to mention that we have seen 4 of these moves so far. We've seen Bloom Doom, Inferno Overdrive, Hydro Vortex, and Gigavolt Havoc. And these are, so just 4 different typings. It's like the grass one, the fire one, the water one, and the electric one. And I assume that it's the same, sort of power for whatever typing you are.
Yeah.
There's still several ones that we haven't seen yet, but what we saw from like the Gigavolt Havoc when he uses it on the Ice Sandshrew, it seems like it's not like a devastating, like super one-hit kill move. Like, it could possibly be a little more balanced than the Mega Evolution sort of battles.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I sent out like a Charizardite Y, like Charizard, so it was still fire and flying, like it didn't change to dragon like the X one did, and then that makes Sunny Day happen, which makes it so my fire moves are like double, and then I would use like Fire Blast, and it would just make it so it was like, I mean, you couldn't beat him if like, cause then his speed was up, like he would just be like unstoppable, like after using like just a couple combinations, and you would have to send out a water Pokemon that had like a guaranteed first move, like water attack, to even think about taking down that Charizard. Like, he was just so OP. And when you have a Pokemon almost that broken on the team, it just changes the whole team then, like, and makes it all broken. And I don't know, it's just it just seems like it was so like really cool and still definitely fun to have. Like, and I'm glad it's there. Like, I'm not regretting it, but I'm also like, I'm not too disappointed that it's gone if it makes it so this competitive scene is a little bit more balanced. And so you no longer, like, it's no longer a battle between who has the better Mega, it's just who has the better team again,
But the issue, I think, another issue that it poses is the fact that would then create such a clash of people who maybe are upset that you're neglecting basically a whole range of Pokemon and a whole range of the competitive scene that has been built up over the past 3 years, and people that are like, no, I'm just gonna, I think, stick to my X and Y and Ruby and Sapphire because these have a completely different now battling system than this revolutionary new one that you guys have imposed with the Z moves. I mean, I would think maybe that base would be pretty small. Maybe a lot of people would move on, but I do feel like there'd be some sort of pain over the fact that you're potentially losing a large chunk of Pokemon, or how are they going to handle the Mega Evolutions?
I don't think too many people would be bummed. Like, you already had, like, I think, what is it, like Mega Genghis-Khan or something, or Kangaskhan is like banned from tournaments or something.
Yeah, but like, not many, and there's like Mega Mewtwo, and so many are like really cool, and Like,
Yeah, the Mega Mewtwo is legit. I mean, yeah, I'm not denying how awesome those are. I'm just wondering, like, as far as competitive play goes.
People were actually hoping that they added more Mega Evolutions to Pokemon in this game. Like, people were, like, looking forward to what Pokemon could they potentially add new Mega Evolutions to. And so
it
far
seems
we've
almost
seen...
like or like the Executor was going to be a Mega, and they're
Yeah,
like, no,
that's a good point. Yeah.
let's just make it a different form or something, like, because you can imagine it
But
like
then you
Mega
have...
evolving and its neck getting all big, you know,
But
like.
then you have, like, the Sandshrew, sort of thing where that doesn't seem like it would be a Mega, you know, that just seems like kind of an alternate form.
I mean, they still have time to announce Mega Evolutions, like.
Yeah.
Like different forms, or just, I mean, the only thing that makes me wonder if they're even coming back is just the fact that they're pretty keen on making sure that your character had that wristband on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was all about that. Like
and was it a wristband in X and Y for the Mega Evolution? Okay. Unless that has both capabilities, you know, because another theory, you know, that I've heard and kind of thought about was the fact that it's Z moves and Z crystal, and we never got a Pokemon Z after X and Y.
Yeah.
Maybe they were thought up, I guess, in the Z phase of planning, and then they pushed it onto Sun and Moon because, you know, and so they're still using that element, but then I could see it maybe working a little more alongside the Mega Evolutions. That'd be pretty radical if they completely created like 50 or so new Mega Evolutions, and then just are like, oh yeah, those were a little too unbalanced, so this is gonna replace that with just one sort of power move, sort of like a hidden power sort of thing.
I wonder.
I don't know. It's interesting.
If there's any word on like Mega Evolutions Sun Moon, like, is there any word on this on Google? 10 new new Mega Evolutions in Sun and Moon, Pokemon Sun and Moon coming in, and likely bringing new, and people are assuming that new Mega Evolutions are coming. Lots of articles on like, oh wait, what's this? From March 23rd, 2016, Pokemon Sun and Moon 2 feature Mega Evolutions. Why Sun and Moon should be released along with whatever. When the Pokemon Company announced its Sun and Games, limited details were divulged. It has been where's the time where they say Mega Evolutions? That's all I want to know. We're wasting time here. Aside from introducing new Pokemon characters, Pokemon Sun and Moon will likely add Mega Evolution to the series, just like they added. Since Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Mewtwo got Mega Evolutions, Chikorita, Sequel, and the Johto region will likely get Mega Evolutions in Sun and Moon. As theorized by YouTuber, well, no, like,
what a good source.
There's no confirmation. Like, there's never been confirmation from what I've seen that there's anything.
Well, we also haven't had any confirmation of a Team Rocket sort of, Team Flare sort of team.
And that's the thing that makes me, like, not surprised that they may just ditch Mega Evolutions and make this its own thing. Because moving on to number 3 from the trailer, is the Alola region in Trials. Pokemon Sun and Moon will take advantage on an archipelago of tropical islands, 4 nature-filled islands with 1 man-made island. The Alola region is known as a resort area that attracts tourists from all over the world. Alola is surrounded by the sea and has a diverse ecology made up of Pokemon that are native to the region, along with Pokemon that have more recently arrived in the Alola from other regions. In Alola, humans and Pokemon coexist in a very close relationship, and a culture has developed that is different from that in other regions. One aspect of the unique Alola culture is the Island Challenge, an adventurous rite that involves traveling through each of the 4 islands. This event helps young people grow into better Pokemon trainers. As the main character of Pokemon Sun and Moon, each player is destined to attempt this challenge. To complete the Island Challenge, young trial goers must overcome the trials on each of the 4 islands. These trials are not limited to battling with Pokemon. They take a variety of forms, including finding items or completing tests of knowledge. At the end of each trial, a mighty Pokemon known as a Totem Pokemon will be waiting. A Totem Pokemon is much larger than others of its species, and its body is enveloped in a special aura. When Totem Pokemon battle, they summon ally Pokemon to join them. With the support of these allies, the Totem Pokemon can become more powerful. Pokemon other than Totem Pokemon sometimes also call on allies to aid them. And then last, the final trial of each island is called the Grand Trial, where Pokemon battle against the Kahuna, who then leads that island. If trial goer succeeds in clearing this Grand Trial, they'll be publicly recognized as having cleared all of the island's trials and can move on to the next island. So, I mean, and then there's captains. Each trial has a captain whose role is to provide guidance to trial goers. All captains are trainers who undertook trials in their own island challenge several years later, and there's several different captains, like Lena is water type, Captain Malo is grass type, Captain Sophocles is with mechanics and machines, and Kawaii's is fire type. And so it seems like there's like a new either Elite Four spread out throughout the islands. It seems like gyms are gone and replaced with these different trials and totem Pokemon. And it also seems like the Kahunas go on to say that there's like this partner thing going on with Pokemon. And it also seems like with Pokemon Ride, which is the sixth feature of the game that we've seen from this trailer, that may be replacing HM slaves or just HM Pokemon, because that practice allows for Pokemon to be carried with Pokemon either in the sky, on water, over rocks. They can cut through things. Like it seems like they're replacing HMs. It seems like they're replacing gym leaders. It seems like they're replacing what the Elite Four would have been. It seems like they're replacing tons and tons of stuff. And so if Z Moves is also replacing Mega Evolutions, it seems like this game could just be flipping everything on its head, which is a ton of change.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I consider the possibility that what if they say, yep, there are still 8 gyms? What if they say, yep, there is still an Elite Four and these are just also there? Or what if they do something where they announce, like, now, like, maybe there's random little places where you go in, this kid's like, I'm the gym leader of my house, like, fight me or something, you know, like, what if there's just kind of more freestyle gym sort of things? Or
I don't think there's any, because like in X and Y, they like right off the bat showed off the gyms.
Yeah,
and they've shown enough of this game that it seems like if there were any gyms, we would have seen something by now. I mean, the game's coming out in a couple months.
That's true. But what I was also kind of thinking about I was dwelling a bit more on the lack of announcement of a Team Rocket or a Team Flare or anything. What if the game progresses in a way where you do all these trials and go through all of the islands, and then post game is more when a evil sort of thing comes up. Like once you've celebrated and it's like, hey, it's all ending, all of a sudden like an ominous cloud appears over or something happens. This has to be for the sake of a story, or how long is this game going to be? Are they going to be able to stretch this out? What's the post game going to be? Elite Four was always a great way to continuously go through and raise your Pokemon's level. It was like one of the best ways to grind in previous games. So how are they going to handle all of these things? It seems like so far we've seen a kind of, I don't know if I would say simplified version of the gyms it's a nice change. It seems like kind of what a lot of like kind of fan-made Pokemon games have been doing for years now, where they kind of switch up the formula a bit.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, how are they going to balance that with also making it such a long experience? I really want it to, because X and Y, that was one of the big complaints with it, is that it was not long enough, and I'm hoping that they can make this game a lot longer than that. And so far what I'm seeing is like we haven't seen any antagonist yet, so we have no idea like what kind of force we're fighting or what's going on there. We can't just be like, Pokemon isn't necessarily the same game if you're just going from gym to gym to gym and then the Elite Four without any sort of Giovanni in the midst of it, and kind of getting into that sort of like figuring out the mystery of what's going on through the game. That's like a huge element of it. So it would.
I don't know. I think it's okay to have the gyms gone and to have like a bad people gone if this is the story. you're arriving into this new Alola region. You get out of your little truck, and your mom's like,
Yeah, just total
"Here-
feel good. Just like
yeah,
nothing negative at all in
yeah,
this game, really.
like welcome to Alola. Like, here's your first Pokemon, and hey,
Yeah,
by the
I guess I
way,
could see that.
if you want to be a trainer here, like, you gotta try the rite of passage." And it's like, well, how do I do that? Well, come to this night. And like, we've seen that clip where you go and they have like the initial rite of passage night, or they hand off the Pokemon to people. And then it's just, all right, you all go. Cause they even said that like the Hua guy, he's not necessarily your rival. He's more of just like another trainer on your journey with you.
Yeah.
And there's the assistant, like we're even kind of trying to pinpoint like, wait, who's your rival in this game? Because it never even says like this is your rival. It's just like this is another character that you kind of go along with. And then there's the assistant lady, and like your rival doesn't even pick like the other Pokemon. Like he has his own already. Like it just seems like this storyline is way more different than any other Pokemon, where it's like you arrive on this island and now you go on the rite of passage, and the game is like the story's done when you finish the rite of passage and you've gone through it all.
Yeah.
And that being said, if there are all these totem Pokemon and each thing kind of each of these things is kind of focused on these individual islands and their respective spiritual Pokemon, so far Solgaleo and Lunala aren't really included in any of that. And so there could be this underlying story with what's the deal with those two.
Yeah, I would suspect there's got to be some sort of mischievous character in the game, whether blatantly evil or blatantly like on the opposite team, or just maybe a, kind of skeptical intentions kind of character, maybe somewhat, more vague, not,
I don't know.
You don't know for sure if they're on your side, but they're investigating or something. I can see how can you have an interesting story when there's no sort of conflict or no sort of besides your Pokemon battles, which often in Pokemon games, unless they make them, really, really challenging, I don't know. I
think the challenge, just like you would see like in the anime show, like obviously there's Team Rocket in the anime, but for the most part, Ash's journey in the anime is like, alright, I've arrived in the Kalos region, I'm gonna go through and defeat all the gym leaders, and like...
Yeah, but there's a conflict in every single episode of
the conflict is the strength and bond with his Pokemon. Like, a lot of times, Team Rocket, I'm watching X and Y right now, and Team Rocket doesn't come in until like episode 5. The first 4 episodes are about him beating the first gym, and just the conflict of him trying to overcome like the gym leader.
In one of the new seasons or something?
Yeah, in the new season, like Team Rocket comes in.
Well, I think that's when the show is kind of at its weakest, though, is when he's just like battling a gym or something.
I'm just saying, that's just like, that's the modern Pokemon story, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, if this Sun and Moon story is completely based on welcome to the Alola region, here's Pokemon, go have fun.
What I could see, I can definitely see them avoiding the Team Rocket, Team Aqua, Team Flare thing this game, because it's become kind of a trope for them. It's become something that is almost mocked at this point. So it's something that they could easily abandon, I think, this game, and totally get away with it, because nobody really wants to, it kind of is forced at this point every single game, and I think they're trying to go against that. But at the same time, I think that there has to be some sort of an interesting character, and I'm not saying they're a bad character, I'm not saying they're an evil character or anything, I'm just saying they're on some sort of more mystery to it, a mysterious sort of character that's investigating the legendary Pokemon, something of pull that's not just like a cheery guy that's like, I'm off to find the legendary Pokemon, and like maybe he has a long coat or something, and he's a little more serious than some of the other characters that you come across, something like that, and kind of turns his back to you when he talks sometimes, things like that.
Sounds pretty sketch. No, we've already seen that with the professor's assistant lady, where she's like kind of quieter and has like her hair's all done like in a weird sort of way, like she's kind of like following you and keeping track on you. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of it.
Yeah.
And so, and they don't really say what's going on with her, and so that could be kind of like what's going on in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, I want to see what your connection's like with the Pokemon, so I could see maybe what's going on with this like the spirit of the sun or the spirit of the moon or whatever, like seems like that could be maybe kind of be part of the thing where it's like the trials lead up to that. But even that, once again, just I don't think it's going to be who can, maybe there will be like that friendly competition of like who can beat the trial first, me or Hua, or maybe there'll be that like something where these trainers are all trying to get the rite of passage done first or something like that. But I think as far as like traditional stuff goes, I think that's out the window with this kind of confirmation that gyms are gone. Because a lot of this stuff, I think there's also like, we'll talk about it later in the Pokeblock, but there's that leak that says that gyms are gone, and a lot of this information is confirming stuff from that leak, so that seems to be kind of confirming it.
I need to reread that. Did the leak thing that said gyms are gone, did it mention anything about Mega Evolutions or anything like that? Probably not, I would assume.
We'll have to check that out. I don't want to do it now, but we'll have to check that out and talk about it
That's interesting.
in next week's episode.
Sure.
Other thing that was featured in this trailer, the newly revealed Pokemon include Oricorio. Oricorio changes its form by sipping the nectar of certain flowers on different islands. Since it has 4 different forms, the same number as the number of islands in Alola, it would seem that the different Oricorio live on each of the islands. There's the ballet style, or Bale style?
Yeah.
Ballet.
I think it's the Bale.
Oh, okay. Well, Bale.
Yeah.
Pom-Pom.
Somebody will be angry in the comments.
They don't know these dance styles. And then the Sensu style, the ballet style, because that's how it looks like. That's the way it's spelled. B-A-I-L-E. Ballet.
It looks like Ballet to me, or Bale, because there's an I after the...
Whatever, man.
Because how would it be ballet?
No, man. Because ballet is a type of dance.
Yeah, that's true. You got me on that.
So Bale, because how often do you hear people going to like the Bale dance? Like whatever. No, they go to the ballet.
I think it's just a style of dancing.
Whatever. I haven't heard of it. It's and ballets are very passionate, because that's what the description says. The Bale style Oricorio is very passionate, and power fills its body when it dances. It sends downy fluff flying during its intense dances.
I'm looking at this.
And it's a fire flying type. All these are flying types. But they're all different, like, primary types. The Pom-Pom style is electric flying. The Pom-Pom style Oricorio is friendly toward people, and it uses dancing to encourage trainers who are feeling glum. When it dances, its feathers are charged with static electricity. There's definitely going to be an episode of Pokemon where Pom-Pom, Oricorio, and Pikachu just go at it. They're going to have so much fun.
I think I was correct. Bale. I looked it up.
You're still on that?
Bat, Pain, and Let. It says Bale.
Okay.
It's in Bat, Pain, and Let. Haha.
The POW style is psychic flying. The POW style Oricorio acts at its own pace, which sometimes makes it difficult to deal with. It sharpens its spirited moves through dance, which increase its psychic power. And then the Sensu style is ghost and flying. The Sensu style Oricorio is quiet and collected. By means of its dance, it gathers the spirits drifting about an area and borrows their power to fight. So super creepy bird at the end there. But yeah, all 4 of these together, they're going to be a whole bunch of fun in the anime. You can just tell that right now.
Yeah.
Personally, I like the Pom-Pom one, I guess. The other ones I'm not the biggest fan of.
It seems to make sense that, like, it's a cheerleader sort of Pokemon. It's charged to the static electricity. They all seem to be pretty good, like, sort of dance styles that fit with the typing, which is really cool.
Really creative. And it's gonna be cool, like, to go through each island and you'll discover more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And so, super exciting. The second Pokemon, Minior, or Minior.
I really like this one. Yeah,
it's a rock. Cool. It's a rock flying Pokemon, which is a really cool combination. Minior are formed in the stratosphere and live by absorbing the detritus, debris basically around them. When they've consumed a large quantity of particles, their bodies become heavy and they fall towards the planet's surface. Minior has a hard and heavy outer shell with a core within, and when it gets attacked enough, the core is revealed depending on what attacks hit it.
That is really crazy to think, though, that like this Pokemon spends a lot of its time living up in space, gathering particles in the stratosphere, and then like it's up way up high in the sky, and then when it gets everything collected, it falls down to earth. That's like just what? This is a crazy Pokemon.
It's crazy. These Pokemon have only ever fallen from space. Only landed here.
Yeah. Very, very strange.
I mean, they must be something to do with the sun and moon god being like so nearby. But because I wonder. I guess not, no doubt, because we've had sun and moon Pokemon before. I would assume this is kind of like in relation to the sun and moon themes going on here. But I don't know. It looks super cool. I love when its shell comes off and it shows the color within.
Yeah, I want all the different colors.
Well, from what I've heard, it's when it gets attacked by like fire, it's red. Is what I heard, but
interesting. So it changes like willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I got all the colors immediately.
Good job.
Yeah.
You're one step closer to filling out your Pokédex. Koppai. And that's a good show, everybody. We're out. The third Pokemon, Gumshoos. It's a normal type Pokemon. Gumshoos is the evolution of Yungoos. It will call on Yungoos allies and stand in the way of trial goers. A Koppai note real quick. It looks a lot like Donald Trump. Apparently, I think it's supposed to be Donald Trump, but apparently it's supposed to also be very similar to like Dick Tracy, the detective.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the coat style and the fur, I guess. Whatever. It's Donald Trump.
I don't think it's Donald Trump. I think that it's the Dick Tracy sort of detective thing. I think it just is kind of ironic. Like I see definitely the resemblance, and a lot of people are kind of jumping on it being looking like Donald Trump. I just don't know if I necessarily see Pokemon Company doing that and commenting on anything like that in any sort of way. It seems with the arms behind its back and just the pose seemed very un-Trump-like to me. Like, you would think that if it was a Donald Trump resembled...
You're gonna get to the end of the trial and Gumshoos is gonna pop up, he's gonna be like, you're fired.
Yeah. Well, if he had his hands not behind his back, but in front, in sort of the each finger touching sort of thing pose, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Then I would see it as a Donald Trump sort of inspired Pokemon. But yeah, the hair is just kind of an easy joke, I think, to Pokemon.
Well, no doubt, everyone's gonna catch this guy and gonna nickname him Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it.
Me too.
Yep. Fourth Pokemon, Fomantis. It's a grass-type Pokemon. Fomantis is nocturnal and performs photosynthesis while it sleeps during the day by spreading out its leaves in all directions. Because of the danger of staying in the same location 2 days in a row, Fomantis begins its search for the next day's spot as soon as the sun sets. Cool idea. Mm-hmm. It evolves into the fifth Pokemon on the list, Lurantis. It's a grass-type Pokemon. Lurantis draws opponents near to itself with its flower-like appearance and aroma, and then takes them down. It's said to be the most gorgeous of all grass-type Pokemon due to its brilliant correlation and elegant moves. Ironically, Fomantis and Lurantis were like my least favorite from the trailer.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't think they looked cool at all.
I didn't really like the pant sort of thing going on with Lurantis. It was like these striped tall pants, kind of circusy or something, and I was like, the most gorgeous, huh? Okay.
I think there's some sort of innuendo going on with all of that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, for the new Pokemon revealed, Mudbray. It's a ground-type Pokemon. Mudbray can be found once all over the world, but it is now a protected species. It's said that the Alola region is the only place in the world where Mudbray can still be found in the wild. Basically, all over the world, people were killing this poor little guy.
It's crazy. He's so cute, too.
And that explains, once again, our theory that there's no villain in Alola, because it's the only place in the world where it can be found safe and sound.
That's true.
A Koppai note, this is the Pokemon that evolves into the one-hit Devastator.
Monster.
Yeah, the monster, the horse monster that can destroy a car with just the tap of his hoof.
Mudsdale.
Mudsdale, yeah. So Mudbray evolves into Mudsdale and starts destroying vehicles. That's why it's extinct everywhere else. People are like, we need to kill this thing while it's still a baby.
Probably murdered too many families.
Going into oncoming traffic like the little Jimbanya from Yokai Watch. Oh man. Moving on. Pokemon is adapted to the Alola region. That's the 8th feature from the new trailer. Some Pokemon have adapted to distinctive microclimates of the Alola region and have taken on different forms that they have in other regions. These Pokemon are called regional variants. After taking root in the Alola region, they live like native Pokemon. These regional variant Pokemon can have different appearances and types, and their way of living can also differ from the previously known versions. The first one is the Alolan Executor. It is now a grass/dragon Pokemon. Unlike Executor, the Alolan Executor has a 4th head on its tail. This 4th head controls the tail independently and can take on opponents to the rear that can't be reached by its main head attacks. Koppai note is that this guy is a dragon, but somehow Charizard isn't. Not fair.
It's not fair at all. But
really
this is this is, I think, the coolest of the new forms that we've seen. Well, at least what it says to me is just, it shows yet again that they're having a lot of fun with this generation and the designs, and they're just they're so creative, and this is really super cool and original, and it actually finally got me to kind of appreciate Executor when I haven't really ever been super into him, even replaying Gen 1 and stuff. It was he wasn't one that I was super on my list of man, I really want him on my team. Now he finally has a really good looking design. He doesn't look so, I don't know, he looked kind of stumpy, I guess, and kind of
derpy.
Derpy and stumpy. And now he looks kind of elegant and majestic in a way. And so they've added that to him, and it's just really, really cool.
It's crazy. There could be an entire Palm Beach with just Executors lining the beach.
I know.
People bury them and stuff, so just their necks stick out and they just look like palm trees.
Yeah, the poor tail thing though would be. They'd have to give it some air or something, or it just suffocates and dies.
And then it starts getting stumpy and stuff. But no, there's some discussion online that apparently we've seen this. There's lots of things going on around online that we've seen this form in previous promotional art. They do that a lot. The Game Freak does with these kind of old Pokemon designs find their way into the game. It's also interesting that the Pokedex entry for Executor says that when it gets exposed to sunlight, its neck will grow. And so it's really cool that we've seen that. That they've said that before.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to go through previous Pokedexes and be what else have they said, when this Pokemon does this, it changes into this, So other forms, we have the Alolan Vulpix and the Alolan Ninetales. They're both ice type. Ninetales is ice and fairy. With Vulpix, it is said that Vulpix came to the Alola region together with humans, but the fox Pokemon moved to the snowy mountain peaks to avoid normal habitats of other Pokemon, and thus ended up taking this form. Ninetales is able to produce ice crystals from the fur that covers its body. It can then use these crystals to block attacks, or it can form in balls of ice, which it fires like bullets at opponents. These ice missiles have enough power to pulverize rocks. So basically, this guy's just shooting people in the mountains.
Yeah.
Ice.
These next ones, I don't know. The Executor is kind of an original Pokemon that doesn't really, what is it based on? Really, it's some eggs that evolved into a tree for some reason.
It looks like it was supposed to be a coconut tree, but
why is it a Pokemon? When I look at these next couple ones, Vulpix, Ninetales, and then we'll get to Sandshrew and Sandslash, but these are Pokemon that it makes sense that a fox type sort of Pokemon or a coyote sort of based dog sort of thing would be regional in sort of different forms, and the same with a sort of mousy rat type sort of thing, what is Sandshrew supposed to even be based on, but just these kind of types, they make sense to be kind of climatized to different regions. I would say that Executor is probably the one that kind of stands out as super, super unique, and kind of mind-blowing in that way, but these ones I think are kind of cool in their own way, where it's this really makes a lot of sense that you'd see a variant of, you see, in the Arctic, more wolves that have really white fur and kind of have ice sticking to them, and that's just kind of their climate. And then you go to Africa or whatever, and there's a kind of hyena sort of, dog species. It seems it's very appropriate. I think it's really cool and kind of crazy that it took him this long to actually start doing things like this. But I love the ice sort of things to it, and like how in the one leak they said that there's supposed to be like some snowman Pokemon. So it's interesting to me, like is there like a super like icy region? I haven't really, I guess I'd have to relook at the map, but
Yeah, there's a mountain. There's like an ice mountain.
So I guess that's probably where it'd be. But yeah.
The interesting thing with this is like Vulpix and Ninetales, like those names make sense. With the upcoming ones, with like Sandshrew and Sandslash, like why are they not renamed to be like Snowshrew and Snowslash?
Yeah, that's true.
And like, what are you gonna do like when you have your Pokedex sorting? Like, is it gonna be called like Alolan Vulpix? Like when you find it in the wild, like is there gonna be a way to distinguish that? Because we've never really had a Pokemon that's completely different. Because this isn't like a new like a temporary like status or something. Like it's a whole new Pokemon, different move sets, different everything, in design. So like when you find it in the wild, like is there's gonna be 2 different Ninetales and 2 different Pokedex entries, like Ninetales number like 930, like in the Pokedex, but there's also a Ninetales in the 150 range. Like, what does that mean? Maybe, but it's gonna be weird to encounter a Sandshrew and not like have it be called Snowshrew.
Yeah.
Like, why is it called that?
I know on my 3DS I have the Pokedex 3D Pro, and it has the Pokedex all the way up until I think right before X and Y. So, but it has a lot of like re-entries of Pokemon where it will be like Keldeo something form, or Keldeo this form, Keldeo,
Yeah.
and then it'll be like. So I could see where it's like Alolan Ninetales, Kanto Ninetales, or something like that, or just regular Ninetales, or Ninetales Alolan form in the Pokedex. I don't know if necessarily it'll be like that in the game, probably. I guess they could probably easily program that, or it's just like a separate page on the Pokedex, the Rotom Dex. Yeah.
I guess you could say that. Yeah. Last but not least, the Alolan Sandshrew and the Alolan Sandslash. They're both ice and steel type, really cool combination. Sandshrew has historically lived in desert areas, but the frequent eruptions of nearby volcanoes drove them to abandon the desert and migrate to snowy mountains where they took on this form. The Alolan Sandshrew of the snowy mountains evolve into Alolan Sandslash with spiny backs that are covered in ice. Alolan Sandslash hide themselves in snow where strong enemies appear, leaving only their needles exposed and ready for business.
Oh.
And then to close out this whole discussion and topic of the show, I wanted to have a quick note on hyper training, which is a new feature in the game, but wasn't really showcased in this trailer, but it was in a previous trailer. While we've covered this in the past, I want to use this review of the new features to address hyper training. I saw some hate online for how it reduces the traditional grind required for competitive play into a simple mini game. Don't forget, hyper training does require you to grind a level 100. That's been confirmed. And the grind for bottle caps that are required for training, we don't know how much that is, or how extensive the mini game is. This simply eliminates the kind of RNG, random number generator, random aspect to the competitive grinding and makes it more uniform and accessible, which is good, I think. And so, seems like this game's going to be really fun competitively, and I think hyper training is something that I'm going to be excited for to kind of get to the competitive scene where I haven't been before, because now it's going to be, I can kind of plan my time out better and know, okay, this is going to, I can make this Pokemon now that I have ready for competitive play. Like the starter I start with can be ready for competitive play.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
The only thing I am wondering is just how are we going to deal with abilities or natures now? Because you can't change your nature.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, I mean, are you going to breed to get like the ideal nature or what?
Get an action replay. I have the 3DS one. I can back up my saves, and also there is it's a cheat, but really, is it cheat? I don't know. Where you can just make your Pokemon ready for competitive play.
No, don't do that.
You go,
don't do that.
Go ahead. Why not? What is the point? It has been so ridiculous, I think, the way that they've made it so it's so random. Why do I have to start off with a Pokemon that I nickname and go through the entire game with, and then turns out, oh, they are just crap online, and you're just gonna get wasted.
You have the bond with them.
But it's not fair.
Journey.
It's not cool. It's not right. It's wrong.
You can see that
wrong. I have to breed like 5,000 of these.
Well, now you don't have, because see, now there's only so many natures. So now you have your starter Pokemon.
So
you make
now
your
I
bond
gotta
with
get
them.
freaking battle caps and talk to some Mr. Hyper guy, and who knows if I'll be able
You gotta
to
earn those perfect EVs and IVs.
Well, that's what I'm gonna try, but if it's ridiculous in any sort of way where it's like, this is just, like, if there's like a limit to it, or anything like that, I don't understand really why. I mean, I guess, but it's kind of stupid that it's so random based and luck based versus like
now it's not
hard. Yeah, I guess if there's a way to do it, like just like if you constantly can get your Pokemon at level 100, find bottle caps, kind of like the bridges in Black and White or whatever it was, where you'd find those feathers constantly. If there's a way like that where you can find bottle caps in trash cans and they respawn, and it actually, or by refighting certain trainers that give them to you, something like that, I don't know. But otherwise, if it's in any way a super ridiculous grind of like the way that it has been with evolving or hatching tons and tons of eggs and then taking them to a certain town and asking the guy, hey, what's the guy's stats on these? And then he's like, oh, it's good in this and this, but not that. And you're like, ah, you know.
Yeah, that's gone. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole point.
I hope it is. I hope it's yeah.
That hyper training eliminates the random aspect of it. It makes
but we haven't had enough. That's all I'm saying is we haven't had enough confirmation that like it's something that you can conveniently do.
It seems like it's just like super training only with IVs, and in which case that would completely eliminate the old aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. And so don't be worried about that. And I'm hyped for it.
Yeah.
But I think that was overall a good topic of the show. That was some meaty discussion. I don't know how long it was. Are you making notes of the time?
Yep, I'm making a note. I've made it for all the previous times. I've made some other little notes, and yeah, we're getting into the Pokeblock now.
Yeah, well, if you're listening on the episode, we're going to get into that. If you're listening to the individual snippet, because you don't support us to get it early,
bye.
That's the end of the show. Yeah, goodbye.